Good morning. This is Karen from newclevelandradio.net. And this morning, I have on a gentleman who may not remember that we spoke in June.
Of course.
Oh, I'm so glad you remember because I went back and listened to our tape from that day. And his name is Leslie Mandoki, and you are in Germany right now, but high above the clouds. So you have some fresh air, which I think is
Absolutely.
wonderful. And
I'm in the Alpine areas, and I would love to say a very warm hi and thank you for having me, to everybody who's listening to us. And I hope that everybody's healthy who's listening. And in case that one of your loved ones or yourself are hit by the virus, please, I wish you all the best and fastest and for recovery. So we should stay together. And I'm here for you a second time after we spoke in June to talk about the greatest unifier in the world, about the music.
well, I will tell you, your music is there's something in your music for everybody. And I have to say, as I was going through the different cuts in the music, some, of course, I liked more than others because I love jazz and I love classical. And so when I hear those sounds, um, I smile from ear to ear. So, how is it that you can record in so many different styles? Let's start there.
Oh, well, it's funny, but it's an academic point of view.
Okay.
Normally we musicians don't really tell about anything to our audience about our craftsmanship. But, this is something, earlier times when we go to museum, then we see that earlier times painters were craftsmen, that they had, certain craftsmanship, but in nowadays contemporary art is not necessary. But in the music, is craftsmanship is absolutely substantial. Part of punk or actually in every kind of music is really important to be at home. And I studied music, and I was not so fortunate to in behind the Iron Curtain where I was living. And my father died as I was 16, and he was a great musician, to support myself while I was studying. So I was not supported by the social care or whatever, when your father died. So I had to support myself, and he for the craftsmanship of music that a Monday in the evening you can play in a symphony orchestra, and Tuesday you are playing in a top 40 band, and Wednesday you play in a jazz club, and Saturday you go with a hard rock band. It was kind of my life as a student, as a student in the Franz Liszt Academy. So in a way I gained a kind of I would say eclectic style, in that I could sit in everywhere, and because I'm a kind of good reader, when the music sheets were around, I was so it was fine, and that's where I'm coming from, and as I became a musical director and producer, and I was building my own studios, and so I only said, and this is maybe for your listeners, and hello everybody who is listening to us now, is the major aspect is only two different kind of music, good and not so good.
Okay. Okay.
And now my goal was to achieve in every category of music where I was producing, to achieve something very special. And I was influenced by a great American producer who became a dear friend of mine, Quincy Jones,
Oh, wonderful.
who
Yes.
is the mastermind for all of us. And the Quincy is one of these very, very, very wise personalities who are just, sitting with him, and we got to know each other after a Grammy a long time ago, and we had a great hang, and then from then on, so Quincy is one of those brilliant gentlemen who knows exactly at the mixing console what not to do, and what to do that we push it to the limit, and
Yes.
that's why it's very kind of yours that you like our music, and the music is for you, and it's something most fantastic in life that the people are coming with an open heart to our concerts, and hopefully not before too long we can hit the road in America
I
again.
hope so. You know, they say that music is an international language, and it is, because you don't always have to hear the words. It's the melody, it's the tone, it's the vibrancy. And I didn't realize how much I enjoyed music, because growing up, I was in choir, and we were told this is what your voice level is and this is what you can sing. And I didn't enjoy being told what to sing and how to sing it. I wanted to do it my way.
Hmm.
Um, but I didn't have the nerve to tell my music teachers that. So I just followed along with what they did. And I missed out on a lot of music. You know, I didn't realize how much I like classical music. I didn't realize how much jazz makes me smile. And if I'm having a down day, I turn it on, and wow, uh, my knees start knocking together, my feet start tapping, and
We
I
need a
can
video
can't
of
stand
that. We
from it.
need a video of that.
Yeah. So,
And we send you music that you don't have a down day.
uh, so tell me a little bit about this new um, music that you've put out, "Living in the Gap." What does "Living in the Gap" mean?
All right, so this is a double album. It is a kind of really prog rock, so progressive rock album. And I was going through the different challenges we have in society. So it started a story like we played the Beacon Theater in New York City uh, almost 2 or 5 years ago. The Grammy organization was inviting us, and it was, standing ovation was phenomenal. And for a European musician like me, you be there in New York and you have the standing ovation, and then New York media was loving it, and so I said, okay, you know what, Mandoki, you have to quit right now. And my kids, they were saying, no, 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 Father, what you do is you're going to write your very best album in your life. So hanging a bit with, there in New York for 2 days, and after I was flying with my 3 children to Los Angeles, and we were in a house in Topanga for 3 weeks, and my kids were kind of critical about my generation. What are we doing? We wrote down the wall, the Iron Curtain, but what the hell are we were doing after that in a society? And so we had a dispute and discussed, and so. And as it is, I came back when I was on China tour, and before I could fly back home to Munich, my son was calling me as I was on the way in Beijing to the airport, and said, "Daddy, I was rebooked your flight, so you're gonna fly to Bali, and I was renting your house at the beach, and you're not going to leave this house until you wrote your best album of your life, and
Wow.
don't take me wrong, but you're not gonna receive any emails, and so you're gonna work on the music." And that's what happened. And about 19 hours a day I was working on the music, and exactly that's what I have learned in Topanga from my children, that we are living in the gap, that as a you know, and a very huge distortion in the society, because we are living in news bubbles and echo chambers of the social media, because we are kind of led by, we are just listening to our own opinion on and over and again. So I said, okay, fine. And I started to write, and it starts with Living in the Gap, and 2 hours later ends up with the song "To Torch," where and it turned out to be the very best album I ever wrote, and I'm very proud that it became so successful. And and this is about the greatest unifier about music, about the young rebels and the old rebels, that we learned from our parents that were around the Woodstock, that so in our heart, we always stay rebels, and now if it comes down to environment, it comes down to the jobs, and it comes down the greediness of the financial industry, which aspect ever, this is a critical song about something like the Me Too movement, Queen of Cool, like Wake Up, about that before we really destroy this world, we should wake up, and about the young rebels, old rebels, and Turn the Wind, and about egomaniacs. So this is an album with a lot of joyful moments, of musical moments, where so the members of Soulmates have 35 Grammys if everybody individually put the Grammys on the table, and it's a very joyful work, and I'm very proud. And it turned out to be the best album, and thank you for having me on your show, because also when the first time we talked, we had a great time, and I appreciate a lot, and so thank you for listening to my music and spread it around, because America always been my dream. By heart, I've always been an American since I was a 1.5-year-old kid, and my father was a freedom fighter in 1956 in Hungary, and we sort of we went. My father said always he was a street fighter against a Red Army, with a little small American flag in his pocket. And so, and you Americans, you should never forget that we always look up to you, and I wish my heart that we overcome this dark tunnel what we are all in, and that's why we wrote the song We Say Thank You, to say thank you to the nurses, to the doctors, to the supermarket workers, to the frontline workers, to the first responders. And this is really important for me. This is a non-profit song to support the COVID-19 responders in America. But there's all these songs, and also the Hungarian Pictures parts of the second album, and its double album. I mean, this album is everything else. It's just absolutely against mainstream, because it's a double album, it's a concept album, it is long songs, and have a kind of very human message about that we have to reunite again. So to bridge over the gaps and against the division, to find how we can get together again, and this plays more the unifying aspects of life in the up front, and digs down deep what is taking us, separating us, what taking us apart, the great division. So that's why it's called Living in the Gap, because we would like to bridge these gaps and back to humanity against greediness, and back to respect and to each other, and let's overcome this evil racism, and let's understand that we are all we can reunite and live up to the great American dream, what we Europeans always looking up to you and say that this is the greatest dream of mankind, the individual freedom and the respectful sharing the world and sharing the way to live. That's why America has always been for my emotional guiding light, and we are looking up to you, and I wish that we or the whole world gets through this dark tunnel, and we like to play the music, the soundtrack to this light at the end of the tunnel.
Well, thanks to musicians like yourself, I have found in the last 9 months, the music is all about uniting. And, I've talked to others who have said, it's been a dark time, but even though it's been a dark time, it's been a time for us to look for that light and share it with all of you who are out there. And we all have to get off of our bandwagons and realize that we all are one people. You may have a German accent, I may have American accent, somebody else has another one, somebody has darker skin, lighter skin. It makes no difference. We're all here for the same reason. And we all want to live in peace and harmony. And we find that harmony in music. One of the things when I was going through your music today, when I was listening to the first selection, Living in the Gap, for me, it has that American country sound to it. And it's not my favorite sound, but I was drawn into it because I wanted to know what you were talking about. And so by the end of the 7-minute song, it was like, I have to listen to this again. I've
Oh, thank you.
because I know I've missed something, and it's going to take me a couple times to listen to it to really grasp the whole thing. And that's what I want our listeners to understand, that you don't just listen to a piece of music one time and make a decision. I like it, I don't like it. Listen to it again. Listen to it with fresh ears. Listen to it, in a different place, because it will have meaning for you. And I'm just so excited. You have what, 19 selections on this album?
Yeah.
19. Wow. So how long were you in Bali then, writing all this?
I must admit, I'm a typical crazy musician. I think it was about 9.5 or 10 years long. I was just, kind of not writing new songs for me. I was writing for everyone, soundtracks and back and forth. And then all of a sudden, as my son said to me and with my tutors, "Daddy, now it's time that you write the best album of your life for yourself, for your gang, for
Love it.
your." And it was the push of the kids, and then I wrote this album, and I think it was maybe only 3 weeks to write it, because it was taking the battery to write this
Yeah.
was taking a decade. So it was a kind of to pull the plug and puff, and it was coming out. I just had to select the ideas because it was just coming like crazy.
Yeah.
And the same goes for the recordings procedure, because the process was kind of really easy, because we got together in my studio. It's a kind very fresh new studio, but it's an old fashioned. So that we get together in the same room and we play the real instruments, Bösendorfer, Hammond, the Marshall, the Fender, the Gibson. So and we just played together, and it was so joyful and so fun, and it was really great.
So you're the musician in the family. Your wife is a doctor. So who did your kids follow, you or your wife?
And very obvious to me. So my firstborn, she's a great actress. So when you Google Mandoki, she comes right after Daddy. And she's famous young actress, very successful, great, really very talented. My son is a middle one, and all of them have something special. The firstborn is the middle one is a son. He is a musician and a designer. And he was more a musician as a designer. Now he's a little bit more designer as a musician. Very talented, great composer. And my young one, Julia, is a phenomenal talented singer-songwriter, and she's around the whole world. And she takes her guitar, and she doesn't need anything else than her guitar. And she never covers anything. She just sings her songs, and only thing I say to her every day, this morning as well. So please slow down, because you write an album a week. So but it's incredible. She's an absolutely greatest talent. So I'm one of this fortunate father that for about a lot of decades I was so privileged and honored that the media was writing about my talent, and I can proudly tell my 3 kids are even much more talented. So, and it's wonderful to see them. And only my wife is a little bit upset that no one wanted to be a doctor, but I'm proud that they were taking the risk of a life of a artist, because as we all know, this is a risky life, as a bumpy road.
Absolutely.
This is can be really rough, and this road, and it can be very tough to go this rough road. So down the line, to explore the ways where to find yourself, and also which is always a difficult task, and a very challenging task. Not now with you, but it's not always the wonderful case like with you, to sell yourself. To when the journalist is saying, "Say your life in one sentence," I'm saying, "Fine, good." It's a bit difficult. So the music is what is so important, and the message. And my father was a musician, and on his deathbed, he said, as I was 16, he lost his fight against cancer, and he said, my son, you gotta promise me something. Very unfortunately, I never got to know my grandchildren, but you gotta promise me that my grandchildren will never read censored papers. And I said, there is the Iron Curtain. And then he said, yeah, but it's not for you. You should find your way and go and don't dream your life, but live your dreams. And this took a couple of years, and until I was 22, and I, teamed up with a dear friend of mine, Gabo Chupo, who went to Los Angeles, and he started his career in Hollywood with Simpsons and created Rugrats and many great figures that you know.
Yes.
So he really made it. Put this way around, everybody's putting a smile on it if I'm saying he's really made it. I had a wonderful time. Then I stayed a while in Germany, and I produced so many wonderful things for Disney with Phil Collins or Lionel Richie and Chaka Khan. So many great things, and I'm one of these fortunate guys, and that so many great artists like Ian Anderson of Jethro, like Jack Bruce of Cream, like David Clayton Thomas of Bloods and Tears, like Bobby Kimball of Toto, like John Hollywood, Supertramp, and so on, and they were Chris Thompson of Manfred Mann, Earthman, John Lord of Deep Purple, and Greg Lake of Emerson Lake Palmer. Gave me their trust and faith and the musicality of what we're doing, and I'm very thankful that I could explore down the line this way to how can music be really a great unifier.
Well, we are thankful for you. And I will be playing your music today. But what I want all of our listeners to know, if you're going to listen to the music and play the music, make sure you're paying for the music, because musicians work hard to create music, to get it published. And, we need to support you. And especially in a time when you can't go out and truly perform on stage. So, to all of our listeners, this is one man that you want to find. His name is Leslie Mandoki, and he's worked with the best because he is the best. So thank you.
Thank you so much, and I wish you all the very best. And wherever you find Mandoki Soulmates, MDOKI, and the Soulmates, wherever. And I hope that very soon we are on the road in America after we have left behind this dark period of life, and stay healthy until then, and see you then. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Bye-bye now.